Sean Carlson, Blackjack 98 Enterprises. Do you have a weed whacker that you're having problem with the rewind is? And does it look like this? Did it come off a Homelite? Does your weed whacker rewind look this complicated? This video I'm going to show you how to replace it and how to diagnose it, how to inspect it, how to do everything it. Okay? So watch carefully. That suck. In order to do this repair, you're going to need the following ingredients. You're going to need the replacement starter rope. You're going to need some mechanical wire. You're going to need a flathead screwdriver. You're going to need a T25 screwdriver bit. Pliers. You're going to need some pipe cleaner. And of course, the most important of all, rum and coke. In this one here, I have about 6 shots of rum and filled completely to the top with coke. So let's get started. Okay, so in order for this to work properly, you need to understand what screw is what. There's 4 screws on this part here. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Those ones are screws. They are coarse threads and they hold in the rewind that this is attached to. Okay, now the other ones are attached to the actual engine block. This plastic case not only holds that rewind, but this plastic case is attached to the engine block. So there's 4 bolts. They have the same head as these screws, but they're fine threads. So there's 1 here, 1 there, 1 on the bottom, and 1 on the other side. 4 of each, making a total for 8. But the difference is, like I said, these are coarse thread, these are fine thread. Do not get those mixed up. Now, what you're going to need to do, unfortunately, is you're going to need to cut this off. So take your pliers and sever that head. What you're going to hear is it unraveling already. And that's fine, because if you have to cut this, you keep on cutting it too short and too short and too short, and very next thing you know, you're not going to have enough lines. So we got to cut that off. Once you got all of those 4 taken out, here are them. Okay, so these are the 4 that were holding in the plastic part. These came in through there. These are not the original parts because I had to replace them because guess what? I lost them. But you can see they're fine threads. Okay, if you want to know the thread type, because you may have done it yourself, it is M4 by 16. Okay, now once you got this cut off, once you got those out, then you need to take out that throttle line. So take your pair of pliers and just remove that. Remove that, something like this, with less fighting. Okay, these are the 4 screws that took this off. Now, I want to show you guys something. Those 4 screws almost look identical to the ones that we took out of the rewind, but they look different. They're just a different thread pitch, almost. So, don't get those 2 confused, because they look the same, but they're kind of not. Okay, so now what we can do, now that we got everything disconnected here, this can now come off, and we just pull it apart. And unfortunately I can't do 2 things because I gotta prop my phone up. Don't forget to have a drink. Okay, one thing I also forgot to mention is that you're going to need your flathead screwdriver to reach into here and pull out the wiring that is attached to this. Okay, so this is connected to the magneto. So like I said, you got to reach in there with your flathead and take it out. Then this can come out comfortably. All right. We got the motor in its glory. So let's just position it upwards. Okay, so we need to take this off. There's 2 pieces. This part here, which is the clutch grabber, and there's a washer right here. So grab the flywheel with something, and then if this is stuck, you're going to need to use a tool to torque this off. And look at the directions. We're going to turn it counterclockwise to get this off. Once that's off, this can now come off. Once this is off, let's just put everything else aside. Okay? Put it aside, and now we got to rewind. So, remember the orientation of how this goes on. It goes on just like this. Not like this, it goes like this. Okay? So, let's turn it up, and there is 3 screws. Once again, T20s. So, let's take these 3 off right now. Okay, so here's the old wire, here's the old string. This was like cut down like a lot because the 4-foot length is actually right out to here. What I went and did was I went and cut this, the new part, to 4 feet. And I remember how I was talking about this little piece here. Well, I can't exactly undo that. So that's why I said that we need wire. We're going to replicate this piece here using wire. So, and what we're going to do is going to stick it back into this hole through there. So stick it through in this hole, put it out through there, put the little wire bit on, and then spool it in the direction that you're supposed to. I forgot. Don't forget to have a drink. It's important. Hydrate. Rum and Coke. Okay, so we got this installed into our rewind housing exactly the way it's supposed to. Now we're going to put everything back together. After you're done messing around with this, after you have successfully got it back together, I'm pretty sure you fought with this one quite a bit, put it back into there and make sure those notch holes line up. See that? It goes in just like that. Now this one goes on top, and make sure that that opening right there goes right on top of that notch. Okay, so what we do, let's go like this. Let me turn slightly until it goes down, until it seats down nicely, and you can see it. Oh, crap. There we go. It's supposed to look just like that. Okay? Now, what we can do is we can put tension onto this rope. So, let's analyze something here before we do that. Hold on. Okay, so this is the part where everybody doesn't like. And that is when this is actually goes back onto here, and then you're trying to fight with it putting back into this housing here. Okay, so let's take a very careful look at this. You see on the bottom here where this little notch piece that sticks out right in the key? This is the bottom, this part here. And it fits into this hole right there. Okay, you see that? There's not one on the top. It's only on the bottom. And you see those 4 holes right there? Those ones where the screws go into are right here. This one, this one, this one, and this one. These holes right here, these 3, are for these parts. Remember? Okay, so because of the fact that the hole is right there for the rewind, that means when this goes into here, like this string that sticks up needs to be on this side of this bar right here. So let's put it right there. Okay, now this is what it looks like when we put that through this hole for the handle. Okay, so remember, the bottom is right there, it goes into there like that, right? So when you're pulling on this, it's kind of sort of rubbing against this part here, but not really, because it's rubbing against this metal part here. So when you are putting tension onto this, make sure that the orientation of this rope is on this side of that point. Okay, now what we do It's because there's no tension on this right now. We got to use both hands, and I'm going to prop my camera up with a stand. Hold on. Okay, before we begin this complicated process, make sure you have a drink. Okay. So, we got to put tension on this. We're going to go 6. We're going to go 6 rounds. Okay, so from the point that we are spooling in from this point here, we're going to go 6. So this will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we're going to do it just like this. Hold it right there. Oh, yeah. 1, 2. Woo. And as you do this, it's going to get tighter. 3, 4, 5, 6, and you're going to hold it right there. Now, there's massive tension on that spool. So what we're going to do is we're just going to pull this out just a little bit more. About a foot. And then we're going to hold it right there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to use this wire clip, and we're going to put it onto the string right here with our pliers. Oh, yeah. Yep. Ah, oh, my phone just took a dive. Okay, here we go. And then we go like this. We crimp it down just like that. There we go. And just like that, it should hold because of that wire that I put on there. You can make it hold. But once that does hold, then you can put these pieces back in, which is these ones here. Okay, so you can put those back in, and what this does is holds this spool down like what I'm doing with my thumb here. Okay. All right, so we got the rewind here with the tension on it, and the string is out like this because of that little clippy there. Okay, so now what we can do is we can put it back onto the engine as it is. So this part goes onto here like this. Okay, and make sure it goes under nicely. Before you put it on, make sure this part here, like we talked about, is on the bottom. Okay, so when we go to put it on, it's going to go on nicely. It's supposed to go on nicely. Now, remember how I said I had pipe cleaner? We are going to use pipe cleaner to wrap around these connection points here. And there's a reason for that. Hold on. Okay, so when you can put the housing back onto the engine, you're going to put this string through this hole. You're just going to feed it through there. You're going to take this, which is connected to the wiring, and you're going to feed it through this hole. Okay, so these two are going to go through those holes, and then you're just going to ease it nicely into there as you're doing it, just fitting it. Okay, and while you're doing that, at the same time, this is going to be flopping around on you, but it's going to be in its orientation, and that is going to be on the bottom. So be very careful with this. You're not gonna get this on the first try. Don't worry. I've done it lots. I can do it. But for you to do it, it's gonna take just a little bit longer, which is okay. Don't worry about it. Oh, and don't forget to put these parts on there too. Okay, don't forget these. Once you get everything all put back together, do you remember me saying that there was a little clippy there that I put in? All you have to do is just take it out like that. See, it's right there. take some pliers and just remove it. Like that. And then put it back into place. Now your weed whacker is good to go. That's